The balance changes are live, and we at Tempestorm are very excited to jump into this new meta. After some time playing and watching the new meta evolve, we'll be breaking down what these balance changes meant for the top decks of Standard, and how they impacted the format as a whole. First up, we have the long-awaited Druid nerfs. Wild Growth has been updated to cost 3 mana, while Nourish has been updated to cost 6 mana. Both of these cards have long been linchpins in Druid archetypes, ranging from Malygos to Taunt to token builds. The impact of the changes to these two cards will be felt throughout every current Druid build, making every deck that relied on these substantially weaker. Whether these archetypes will continue seeing play remains to be seen, but you should definitely expect to see Druid less on ladder in the coming weeks. Next on the chopping block is Level Up. Odd Paladin has been a force on ladder ever since its release in Witchwood, and this nerf to its key card effectively kills the deck. The main payoff for playing Odd Paladin was the ability to flood the board and leverage that advantage into a big level up turn. With level up being leveled down to 6 mana, many players will be moving to Even Paladin as their minion-based Paladin deck of choice. Some players have already begun experimenting with Even builds, including Dragul's Jailer, Crystal Lion, and Level Up, to become more of a Silver Hand recruit-focused build. Leeching Poison is the next card to be hit in this wave of adjustments. Costing 1 mana instead of 2 is actually a fairly substantial nerf, as one of the best disruption tools Control players have access to is Skulking Geist. However, the biggest nerf to this card is the fact that it now only grants lifesteal for a single turn. For too long have Control and mid-range players navigated through all the board clears Kingsbane plays, and for too long have Control and mid-range players presented a few large minions to apply pressure, only to have all their work undone by a gigantic Kingsbane with lifesteal. This change will force Kingsbane players to be more tactful when picking their spots with Leeching Poison, as opposed to playing it as early as possible and having lifesteal for the rest of the game. Last, but not least, in this round of nerfs is Serenite Chain Gang. The adjustment to Chain Gang is subtle, but extremely important for how it functions in this meta. Now when it's buffed, the summoned copy of Chain Gang no longer applies the buffs that the very first copy had. So, if a Chain Gang is buffed by a Prince Keleseth or Soul Infusion, for instance, the copy that is summoned by the Battlecry will not retain the buff and will just be a 2/3 Serenite Chain Gang. The more important nerf of this card in terms of meta impact is the fact that it effectively kills Shadowwalk combo. Shadowwalk relied on copying itself with the Chain Gang Battlecry to combo off with Grumble. So with that interaction gone from Standard, that strategy is now unplayable. With these nerfs in mind, and now a new meta at hand, many players have scrambled to try and find the best decks to ladder with. Popular streamers have taken to ladder to test out archetypes they think might be a good choice to ladder with. Fino took this build of Spiteful Druid to battle in top 200 Legend. The deck can struggle against Odd Rogue and other aggressive strategies, but very well may be the best way to approach a Druid right now. Board Control revisited a fairly recent Rogue archetype in Death Rattle Rogue. The deck has some seriously powerful mid-game turns and can become a serious headache for Control decks. Necrium Blade or Necrium Vial, comboed with Devilsaur, Carnivorous Cube, or Mechanical Whelp, can all be game-winning swings against a variety of decks. Firebat played an oldie but goodie in Mind Blast Priest, which preys on aggro while being solid against the Hunter archetypes with its access to Psychic Scream. This guy's toast has been streaming Topsy-Turvy Priest, which many players have been hyping up as the best deck in the game pre-nerfs, though among the most difficult in the game. A dip in aggro and rise in control would be exactly what Topsy players want to see. Teo, on the other hand, has been holding top 100 Legend essentially all day, with his OTK Death Knight Paladin build. This deck is good against minion-based decks that Equality, Consecrate, and Shrink Ray punish, while being naturally good against Control as a result of its win condition being a one-turn kill. In the pre-patch installment of the Tempestorm Meta Snapshot, Tier 1 consisted of Malygos Druid, Togwaggle Druid, Death Rattle Hunter, Spell Hunter, and even Warlock. We anticipate Malygos and Togwaggle Druid falling out of this tier, and it's not clear where they'll end up. Odd Paladin may also fall out of Tier 1, and likely the meta altogether, while Hunter and Warlock remain untouched. The standard flavors of Death Rattle, Secret, and Spell Hunter all still exist and remain very potent decks. Hunter's overall strength depends on how popular aggro becomes as a result of these nerfs, since most Hunter decks can struggle against quick starts and wide boards. Even Warlock was untouched by the nerf bat, but lost some overall good matchups against Odd Paladin and Shadowwalk Shaman. Having to play against Hunters and Odd Rogue will cause headaches for even Warlock players, but the deck is still a very consistent and proactive deck for the class. Because of this, it is highly likely to remain a strong deck for laddering and a prevalent one for the meta. Big Spell Mage is one deck that's getting a second wind in Standard. It can grind out games in fair matchups and against opposing control decks with its linchpin Frostlich Jaina. It's naturally built to have a good matchup versus most aggressive strategies, and is well positioned against most non-combo decks. Every Druid deck had a positive win rate against Control Mage, while Shadowwalk Shaman was one of Control Mage's worst matchups. And with those falling from grace, it is highly likely to become a meta mainstay once again. Even Paladin is already on the rise, as it sports a solid win rate on ladder, and can even be built with the Silverhand Recruit and Level Up package now. Even Paladin was already seeing a resurgence in terms of popularity before this patch, and has now gained even more options in deck building. Odd Rogue is quickly becoming one of the go-to decks for ladder players in the first days of this post-nerf meta. It has been one of the most powerful aggro decks in Standard since the Witchwood, and its two natural predators in Spreading Plague and Odd Paladin have since been hindered. With this in mind, this seems like a natural meta place for Odd Rogue. Odd Warrior is likely to see a rise in play, partially due to Shadowwalk, Kingsbane Rogue, and Druid being hit, and partially due to the resurgence of Odd Rogue. Odd Warrior sports a very positive win rate versus Odd Rogue, and almost every other aggro deck, and can adapt to most metas fairly well, unless the meta is combo saturated. These balance changes are going to have a huge impact on the Standard metagame, with many of the major decks having disappeared literally overnight. The format is now a wild west of archetypes, with some specific builds already rising to the top. Odd Rogue, OTK Paladin, and the various Hunter archetypes are all beginning to show promise as some of the better decks for ladder. We look forward to showing you more of what this post-patch meta has to offer in the coming weeks. Let us know what decks you came across and what videos you would like to see next. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest developments, Hearthstone content, and our upcoming Meta Snapshot. Thanks for watching.